Hello there, and welcome. I'm betting you probably figured out pretty quickly what lesson I was entering when I asked the question, have any of you had a massage? But just in case you didn't, I'll go ahead and tell you how the question went and how the lesson started. I asked the question, have any of you had a massage? And nearly everybody in the room had one. And so I started to tell them about my nephew. Now, one of the first people I interviewed for this project was my nephew, Orson. And he is a teacher of Chinese and studied in China. And the tradition of massage in China is much more deeply rooted in the standard culture of the day. So while he was in China, Orson had a massage nearly once a week. And so when he came back to the States and he first moved to Roswell, America, he was interested in maybe having a massage weekly here too. So there was a building on the main road that said massage in the window, and he went in and he asked for a massage, and the woman began to massage him, and he thought, this woman does not know what she's doing. Now, for those of you who haven't seen his interview, Orson has a military-style haircut. He's big and blonde and looks kind of like a cop. He was so innocent that he just assumed that a window sign that said massage meant massage. And he figured out while he was in there that no, it didn't, and he got out of there. So, what was this leading up to? Well, it was leading up to the story of Rahab in Joshua. Rahab is described in different translations different ways, but essentially she was a prostitute and maybe a madam. She might have been kind of the head prostitute in a brothel. We don't really know, but we do know she was a woman, a professional woman. And in the King James Version, the word for her is harlot. And Mother, when she taught this lesson, one of the things she discovered was that was an unfamiliar term to some of her adult students. One of them said he was a farmer where she was teaching, and he said, I need to ask you, what is this harlot? Anyway, so the lesson was about this character, this Bible character that everybody in the room had heard of. But what was interesting was I was able to present them with a way to think about her in an entirely different way. And she becomes an important character because she represents a proselyte. She joins the nation of Israel after she saves their spies. And so she is not subject to the same hostile treatment that the people west of the Jordan River that are going to receive and the people of Jericho are going to receive. She is from Jericho. She is a Canaanite. But because she saves the spies and she helps these people, she becomes part of the nation of Israel. And, that lesson, the idea of studying that lesson together and talking about that character with adults was very interesting because we were able to discuss some of the socioeconomic realities of the world. And one of the things that, we were all pretty innocent of, I didn't ask anybody, do you know where there's a prostitute in this town? I didn't ask anybody that question. I simply told this story. So, but what we also did was saw that this reality of a character like this, a person like this, is present in human history, throughout human history. And so Rahab represents a woman that is pivotal to the story of Joshua, and who becomes a sort of legend, both in the Jewish tradition and in more widely the Western tradition. And she is not treated with condemnation. She's an ally. And she's involved in a business that would be condemned, but she is not condemned. So that's one of the interesting features of studying something like the old scriptures, the Bible, but any classic piece of writing can present you with ideas about your contemporary stage. And so by asking them about their contemporary life, their present life, I was able to shrink to some degree the space between Rahab of more than 2,000 years ago and them. She came into the room now as a more contemporary figure and a more real person. And that is always going to be to your advantage as a teacher. If you're teaching adults, one of the ways that you can engage them in their very best thinking and their very best discussions is to link whatever material you're working on with their contemporary experience. And one of the ways you do that is by asking these left field questions. You think about how would the contemporary experience present itself to them. And one of the reasons why I get excited by doing this, brief interruption there, sorry about that, got a call from a family member, and you know I'm not going to throw one of those away. But I'm back and I'm ready to finish up this episode. When working with adults, allow it to be fresh. Whenever possible, allow it to be fresh. And that way, it will be satisfying for both you and them. I hear sirens going outside, so something interesting must be going on. I hope you have an interesting rest of the day, and I hope you see me again, you gorgeous people.